Yo, what's happening, guys? I've got a new build update. How rude. How rude
The
is it?
one who brought those Pellinger brats to justice.
You're rude, sir. But we have a new build. This one is for a thief. This is going to be a very, very handy build in the upcoming patch coming out in July 8th. This is going to be for a thief. This is a master thief at best. It does require subclassing, so you will be required for a few extra skill points. That being said, it is phenomenal. Let's get into it. So as you can see here, we are a Imperial Nightblade. It doesn't typically matter what race you are. I would suggest, if you're a newer player, I would suggest either Breton, Khajiit, Wood Elf, Imperial. They're kind of all like best in slot, and they all do like beneficial things. So like the Breton would really help with the sustain. You would probably have a little bit more recovery than what I have currently, and you would probably and you get the 7% reduced cost for magic abilities, which does tie into this. So Breton would be a very good choice. Obviously Khajiit and Wood Elf do have extra immunity from being detected by a couple of meters, so they are good choices as well. But all in all, it doesn't typically matter what race you are. We are not a vampire. You can be a vampire with this build if you choose to be. If you want to be a vampire, you're more than welcome to be. Personally, this works just fine without being a vampire. And it's absolutely phenomenal. So, as you can see here, in terms of gear, we are running the One Piece Shadow Queen's Cowl. What this set actually entails is, as you can see here, while crouched, you can see witnesses and guards through the wall. Also, successfully pickpocketing a witness or a guard applies distracted to them for 10 seconds, stunning them and decreasing the stealth detection radius by 30 meters for that duration of the 10 seconds, which is absolutely huge. It's such a huge grace window, which just allows you just to get away with a lot more stealing and thieving and just going about your business as a thief, really. Obviously, our next piece is a One Piece Magma Incarnate. The reason why I went for this set is probably best in slot for this build, as we're trying to solely purpose ourselves around recovery. What that does is, obviously, this is helping us because it's giving us the most recovery that we can get in the game on a single piece, but we also gain that in stand recovery too, which is kind of nice. You know, having equal stand recovery just to that, you know, for that one piece is just better. You could go for a one piece choke thorn. You could go for other one pieces what give you mag recovery. But all in all, this is probably best in slot. Our next set is Willow's Path. So what Willow's Path does is it increases my health, magicka, and stamina recovery by 18%, which allows me to have stupid amounts of recovery, which just benefits and helps our build. So obviously we got the 5-piece of that in Divines, but with Divines across the board. And then for the Jury, we are 3 Swift and 2 Precise on the weapons. The reason why I go Precise on the weapons and we go dual wield, it just gives us that little bit extra damage if we have to kill an enemy. Okay, but our other set is Darlock Bray. This set can be found in Northern Elsewhere. This is an overland set, and it's a very good set. So obviously this gives us mag recovery, stand recovery. It also reduces the radius that we can be detected by 2 meters and reduces the cost of sneak by 10%. On top of that, while we are crouching and not bracing, aka blocking, we restore 647 stamina and magicka and heal for 660 health. So we're gaining 647 magicka and stamina every second that we're crouching and not blocking. And then obviously we're gaining that extra 660 health every second too. So it's a very good set, and it ties in with what we're trying to accomplish here and trying to occur. In terms of my skills, so we are 1 bar. Even though that we got 2 bars active, what I do for my secondary bar is we just put some buffs on our bar. Okay, so we're taking Camouflage Hunter. This actually does stack alongside with Inner Light. It's the same buff. If you read it very, very carefully, it's the same buff with Major Savagery and Major Prophecy. The reason why I take Camouflage Hunter on top of that, though, is if you actually read it very, 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 very carefully, you will read the fact that it gives us critical damage with the Minor Berserk for 5 seconds after dealing critical damage on an enemy flank. So the fact that we can gain Minor Berserk just from this, it's kind of handy to have it. Okay? Is it needed? Not really, but I take it anyway. Merciless Resolve. This is just passive damage. Whenever we have stacks of this up, we're just going to get passive damage and it's just going to help. Typically, do we need it? Not really. Race Against Time, I just put it on the back bar just to keep passive rolling, really. Inner Light, the reason why we take this, even though technically it's the same buff as this for the best part, minus the Minor Berserk, what this actually does is it increases our max mag, and it doesn't matter what bar we have this slotted on. So we're going to gain that additional max mag from this. And then I have Soul Harvest on my back bar, because it also... once again, while slotted on either bar, anytime enemy you kill, you gain 10 ultimate. So typically, I don't need to worry because I'm gaining ultimate. And then we have Dawnbreaker on my front bar for passive damage. Okay, so we gain more damage on our front bar. Back to the front bar. This is our bread and butter bar. So, this is our main bar, what we're going to be focused on. I just wanted to cover the buffs for the secondary bar. We don't switch bar, ever. We just stay on the front bar, okay? So obviously we got Shadow Disguise. This is our bread and butter. This is our stealthy ability. The problem is with this ability, back in the day, it used to be just be able to be spammed. And you could just keep using it, and using it. The problem is now it's a ramping cost. So every 2 seconds, it takes away 2.1k max mag. So it's consistently stealing your magicka, okay? Whenever you have this toggled. What this does, though, is if I sit here and I toggle it, this guy cannot see me. At all. Like, he just generally cannot see me. And if I sit still, it doesn't matter because we're not wasting mag if I'm not moving. I have so much mag coming back to me whenever I'm not moving. It doesn't matter because it's not gaining anything. It's not losing anything because our recovery, this is what we're getting back every 2 seconds. I'm getting 4,213 magicka back. Okay? So it's outweighing the cost of what we've done. Now, the problem is with this is if we're moving and we're running around, if I just go for a little run here, you can see that it starts to ramp up in cost. And this is because it has a ramping cost effect. So the more that you're running around and you're using this, the more of a problem it will be. If you just take a couple of seconds to breathe and wait, boom, you back up the fall and then you can go again. So it's a very, very forgiving Nightblade build. Especially for newer thieves and even endgame thieves. You know, it's a very, very solid state situation what we got going on here. So obviously we're going to be using this. You don't have to have it toggled in at all times. Like say for example, I'm running around and I see this guy and I don't want to be detected by this guy here. I can just use that and then I can undetect and then I can just use it again and just keep double toggling it if I wanted to. But I don't. I normally just toggle it, just go about my business, you know, and then if I need to rest, you know, maybe we'll rest for a couple of seconds and then we'll get going again. You know what I mean? But as you can see, even the guard can't see me. It's pretty disgusting. In terms of how stealth works. Our next ability, this is where the subclass comes in. So we do take the Restoring Light from the Templar tree because we take Radiant Aura, okay? There is other ways that we can gain more recovery. I just think this is probably the better way of doing it. This is just my opinion, but there are other ways that we can do it. So like, I'm just going to cover the other ways that you can do it if you wanted to do it. So in Curative Rune Form, there is a passive called Erudition, okay? And this will give you 18% recovery versus 15% recovery, okay? So that is one way you can do it. Another way you could do it is you could go into the Animal Companion and you could go to this one, right? And you could gain the 20% from this tree, right? And then you could just slot this, say for example, let's say we slot the mag one, and then you have that 20% recovery from Flourish. Okay, so now if we actually come out of here and go and look at this real quick once it resets, as you can see, we actually just gained more recovery. So that is another choice too. My problem is with this is I feel like the other way is just better. This is just me personally, how I feel about it. I mean, this isn't bad either. In all honesty, you know, like I say, I can literally stop in front of this guard, get my mag back, and he doesn't even see me. Like, he doesn't even see me. It's so stupid. So yeah, there's three ways that you can build this Nightblade if you wanted to. I personally just prefer the Templar, and I'm gonna explain why. I don't need this extra critical damage. I generally don't need it because we have enough from assassination anyway. And with the Restoring Light, I gain a little bit of healing done, and you know, we get the minor mending and stuff, which increases our healing and stuff. So I think personally, this is probably just the better way of doing things, in my personal opinion. Plus, if I'm rezzing someone, if I'm out on my travels and someone dies and I see him, I can res him. I have that 50% chance to get a empty soul gem refilled. And I just, you know, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm just gonna go with that. Because that's just where I'm at. You know, just personally as a person, that's just how I feel. So that's why we went with this tree over the other tree. And you're only losing about 100 recovery. So it's really piss poor minor stats. Because 100 recovery is less. It's less than like. I mean, it's literally like 100 meg. Like it's so petty. You don't need it. Okay, like you just don't need it. So yeah, we go with Radiant Aura for the 15 recovery. Our next skill, this is our bread and butter. This is if I need to kill someone real quick, I use these two abilities to make sure that that occurs, and that happens very, very fast. So we have Concealed Weapon. This is doing a couple of things for me. One, if I have to kill someone, I can set them off balance and I can stun them from a medium heavy attack. But the main reason why we're using this typically is the fact that whenever I have this slotted, I can gain that minor expedition, which increases my movement speed by 15%, which is just super nice as a thief. It just allows us to get around a little bit quicker, and it's just super nice and handy. Impale, this is a execute. So by the time I start slapping them with concealed weapon and start ripping through their health, I can then start impaling them when they're below a certain amount of health and they just get nuked. It's just an execute. Okay, so these two are very, very handy. And then, like I say, I take Dawnbreaker with Smiting over the other Dawnbreaker over Flawless. The reason why I take Dawnbreaker with Smiting over the Flawless Dawnbreaker is because it stuns. So if I do need to try and kill an enemy and I need to like stun and then just get the hell out of there and dip, at least then I've got that 2-second stun, you know, to be able to have that 2-second grace period just to try and get away, right? So it's just handy for that. Obviously, our Munderstone is the Atronach. Obviously, our food, what we use is Ghastly Eyeball. This gives you max mag and mag recovery. It's probably the best food for this type of build, in my opinion. There's really not many other foods out there what I would suggest using, to be honest. I would say Ghastly Eyeball is probably the best in slot. And then obviously this is our champion points. So with the champion points with the blue tree, we have Arcane Supremacy. That increases my max mag by 1,300, which is super nice just to have that extra mag. And then we have Master at Arms, just for 6% damage done from direct damage. And then I have Fighting Finesse. This is doing a couple of things for me. Obviously, it's critical damage plus critical healing. And then we have Deadly Aim for the single target damage, which increases my Impale. With the Impale, obviously with the critical, if I hit criticals, I get that critical healing back, which is nice, right? Red Tree, we have Rejuvenation. This is just overall recovery. Just super nice just to have that extra recovery. We've got Celerity for the extra 10% movement speed. We've got Refreshing Stride. So what this does is whenever I'm if I sprint, you can see
I have been expecting you.
is there a way that I can show this? I don't think it's gonna show it. Yeah, it's not gonna show it. But look at this. So that's another reason, right? Because look, whenever you're moving, this is what I was saying with the ramping cost. You can't get your recovery whenever you're moving. This is why you have to stop and wait, because your recovery gets nulligated. As you can see, look, stamina and magicka is gone. It doesn't exist, right? And that's why it gets that ramping cost. We've got high recovery, so our recovery is kicking it back to a degree, which is really weird, and it's more just a dial-up break kicking it back, really, with the one set, which is giving us what 647 magicka back every second. So that's the only thing what's really restoring us, and this is why we have to stop and wait. But the reason why we have such a high recovery is because then we don't have to stop and wait for too long, right? And that's typically how the build fluctuates and kind of is designed to work, right? But yeah, obviously we take Refresh Stride. I'm probably gonna drop that, because that isn't gonna work because it requires us to sprint. I thought I was gonna be pretty clever with that one, but yeah, we don't technically we don't need that. There's really not a lot you can choose from, to be fair. I mean, you could probably do this, increase duration crowd control immunity. Would that concur with detection radius? Is there anything for detection radius, actually? Aha! Get rid of that. Chuck this in here. Extra stealth detection right there. That's super nice. Yeah, there's really not a lot going on. I mean, the only other thing you could do is maybe just chuck this in here and just get that 1500 mag when you click back through, right? Like, if you kill someone, at least then you're gonna get 1500 mag. I'd probably just do that, to be fair. And then our last one is survival instincts. This just gives a flat 25% reduced cost to all of our abilities, which is super nice. And it even includes the 25% reduced cost to the ramping cost of shadowy disguise. So that's kind of nice. Our green tree, we take fade away. So escaping from guards wipes 20% of your current heat, but not bounty. So what that means is, say for example, I get caught by a guard and the guard's angry with me and he's trying to chase me down. I can then run away from him, and then it will take away the heat of him trying to like kill me quicker, but I will still have the cost of the bounty there to be paid. It's just that I won't be attacked so frequently because I will return to that normal status of not having to deal with the guard, if that makes sense. So that's super nice. Shadowy Strike. Whenever we kill an enemy with a Blade of Woe, which obviously this build is designed for Blade of Woe, this is just nice. So whenever we do kill an enemy with the Blade of Woe, we become invisible for 5 seconds after a short delay, while distracting nearby enemies or potential witnesses. While under this effect, you can cast Blade of Woe. Okay, so that's just nice to have. And then we got Steve's Blessing for the 20% movement speed when we're not in combat. And then we have Sustained by Shadows, which reduces our cost of sneaking by up to 50%, which is just super huge. But this is pretty much the Thief, and I like it a lot. And this mythic, highly recommend going and getting this mythic, ladies and gentlemen, because this mythic is insane. I can see every NPC, even through wars we can see the NPCs, and we can even see the guards through the wall. Like if I come this way and then tilt, look, you can see the gold guard over that way, and you can see him through the window. Yeah, this guy has no idea what I'm capable of, but he will when he sees my video on YouTube. But yeah, I've got an unlimited thief here. Like I say, you can just keep this toggled on. As long as you stand still for 2 or 3 seconds and then get going again, you're good. In terms of like doing Thieves Guild missions, you're not always going to be able to stand still and get that little grace period, you know, rebust of trying to get your mag back. And the reason why is because the way that they design them missions, there are guards with lanterns in them missions what will pull you out of stealth. So the trick is with them missions, you've got like hiding spots, right? So you got like barrels what you can go and jump in. You've got, you know, other things that you can hide under and stuff to escape that lantern guard. And then he walks past, and then you jump back out, and then you go about your business, right? That's how they're designed. But yeah, there's going to be a huge update coming July the 8th. So I hope you all like this build. Get building it. Try it out for yourself. Like I say, there are 2 other ways of doing this. If you didn't want Restoring Light, you could take the Arcanist Creative Rune Forms for this passive here and gain 18%. Or you could gain 20% from the Animal Companion with the Warden and Flourish. Okay, they're your options. I just think this one's better for me. That's just my personal preference. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. But yeah, have fun. Stay blessed. All the best. I'm out. Peace.